Hi, everybody. I've had an absolute blast recording your championship intros on audio and also on video. And for those of you that didn't know, the videos can be done special exactly the way you like them, because these are green screens and we can do them with a scene behind me. Do you want a fighting scene? Do you want a beach scene? Do you want a race car scene? Any scene you want, we can give it to you. It's your theme and my pleasure. Just write our offices and we will answer you with the exact fee involved and how it'll get done. So here we are, and now it's time, and it's your choice. Cheers! From the shores of Malibu where the waves are pumping, to the Great Wall of China, and back to the streets of Salt Lake City, Utah, where the UFC is coming. We are live. This is It's Time Radio, the show where we talk about what you think about, but may be afraid to voice. Do not worry, we'll voice it for you. We talk about it all at its time. No holds barred radio, folks. TV, politics, sex, drugs, rock and roll, you name it. UFC, we talk about it. And I'm here with TJ DeSantis, my co-host and producer for God knows how many years. TJ, it's just you and me. Just you and me today.
I could count how many years, Buff, but math is hard.
No, it's not hard. It says 16, 17, what?
Let's see here. 2008. So 2018 would be 10 years. 15?
15 solid, right?
Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing. Wow.
This podcast can almost drive a car.
Years. Yeah, right. Well, listen, I am excited about going to Salt Lake City.
I like it
reasons
there.
Of A, it's a good show. It's a really excellent show. Number one.
Yeah.
Number one. We'll get into that.
Well, it's interesting to me that Salt Lake City, which is one of the most difficult cities to go and have too much of a eccentric night, if you will, right? Like you're not drinking and going crazy in Salt Lake City like you are in Las Vegas, right? We can agree on that.
It's not Las Vegas, but I'm not really drinking a lot and going crazy.
Well, you're not personally, but like there are rules in Salt Lake City where if you're under the age of 21, you can't sit too close to the bar in a restaurant, right? Like that's the truth.
Well, that's going to be interesting because my godson Henry and his best friend Evan are driving to Montana, and they're going to stop off at Salt Lake City and go to the show.
Oh, nice.
And they're each 18. So
right. Well, if they go into a Buffalo Wild Wings, they got to sit at least 25 feet away from the bar. I'm not even kidding you. Like that.
I'll make sure they're safe. I'm sure we're going to get together
like a real rule.
Friday night.
Yeah. Well, it's not that like they're safe. It's just it's a very strict, rigorous city, we'll call it. But it's funny to me that this is the site of the next BMF belt.
I know. Think about it. I wonder who's going to voice that initials into the name that it means. Certainly not me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. The BMF title, lightweight bout, Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. Wow.
Do you call it the BMF championship? Is that how you are going to address it?
It's down here as the BMF title. So I'm going to clarify my statute of limitations on what I can voice that night. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I
think last time I did call it the BMF title.
Yeah, I think you should just go for it, though.
What, say the whole thing?
Uh-huh.
I don't think so.
Well, why not? It's on pay-per-view, Buff.
Yeah, I know, but that would be a video that might go a little viral. Not to say that's because of me saying it, but I'm not usually one to say that, voice that word.
I mean, you're just reading what's on the belt.
We'll see. I'm a soldier. They point, I shoot, so I take direction. So we'll see what the score is, but I'm sure it's going to be BMF. I'm sure it's going to be the way it is. Let me tell you something about Salt Lake City. Beautiful city. And answer your question, do I explore, given the right situation, when I was in Paris, explored a little bit. Of course, in Shanghai, China, did the Great Wall of China. When I get a chance, I do. But, TJ, there's so many shows. I'm back to back.
It's not even just that. It's just there are certain things you got to do to get ready. And, I'm gonna say on fight week, Buff. I'm generally in the town a day or two before even you get there, and I still don't have time to really, maybe I'll hit a restaurant. That's about it. I like to try to eat the local flair of wherever we are, but beyond that, like, can't hit a museum. I can't stroll around downtown and just have a day. Unfortunately, I wish I did.
I've certainly in my 27 plus years of doing this have explored many, 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 many times. But as
Right.
the shows get so repetitively busy week after week, that shortens it. Now,
Well, you just want to get home too. Like, no offense to the
I love to
cities.
get
It's just
home.
you got to work. You got to go to work. Got to go home. Work, go home.
I was just in London, right?
Right.
And I got to London on Thursday because I did a whole bunch of stuff with Puncher's Chance. Not Puncher's Chance. Listen to me. Get the jet lag out.
So you don't even know you didn't even know what job you're doing all the time.
No, with RBM over, my company makes my cologne and
Right.
and everything else. They're based in London. We had a great time, going over everything, photo session, interviews, the whole bit. And I was very busy on Friday, and then Friday night, dinner with my partners, and then boom, get rest and get ready for the show. And then after the show, the London show went late. It didn't finish till after midnight. And I had to leave literally at 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning for the airport.
Yeah. So did you even get that? Was it even like an option to try to sleep after the event?
Yeah, I tried to get a couple hours sleep. You do what you can. I went downstairs. The hotel, the English fans, all the fighters were in the hotel. Nobody really went outside the hotel. And it was pretty crazy downstairs. So I was down for a while. I had a couple of my friends I had to meet and talk to. And it was nice to see Audie Attar, Conor McGregor's manager, was there. He's a great guy.
No China White?
Pardon me?
No China White experience?
No China White experience. That was not the situation that was going to happen. For those of you that don't know about the China White experience, that was the brawl with Tito and Chuck and Lee Murray, and documented very well in that Lee Murray documentary that they had on.
Catching Lightning. That's available on Showtime.
See that.
Yeah, it's great.
No, the English fans are very rabid. They're very, happy. The show was not sold out, but there was easily over 12,000 people there, and they were going crazy. There's no question.
Honestly, UFC's been to London now pretty close in proximity from the last show to this one. So I'm not surprised.
I think we're going back again in the fall.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, the UK deserves UFC offerings. But 12,000 people for a UFC Fight Night card is a great crowd.
It was a great crowd. It wasn't sold out, but again, the card delivered. The card was quite a card.
I know. I was paying attention.
I bet you did.
You see, it was weird because that was going on as I was getting ready for boxing later that night on UFC Fight Pass.
Right.
So I was doing all that stuff. I like the earlier day mixed martial arts card, whether it be the UFC or whether it be one of the live event partners on Fight Pass. I like watching sports when the sun is up.
Yeah, I think we all do. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's
nice to
get
back to the thing in the hotel. It was so crowded down there, and people were, everybody from fighters to you name it. It's hard to relax. They want
the energy level's high.
Pictures. Pardon me?
The energy level is high.
Yeah, the energy level high. The adrenaline's high after the show. It was nice to see a number of the fighters. Spoke to Molly McCann for a while. I was bummed to see her hurt again in her shoulder.
Yeah.
But she's a warrior. She'll be back. And I was going to sit down and relax and have dinner down there, but it was just too crowded. I had the bartender send it up to my room. Just had room service and went to sleep.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
To the airport. So, name of the game, not a glamorous evening by any standards, but a glamorous evening in the O2 Arena.
And how do you rebound when you come home? Because, you've been home for what, 24 hours?
Almost.
Right. Almost 24 hours. The time difference between London and here, pretty significant.
8 hours.
Do you allow yourself to either A, get on London time, or B, do you try to just stick through to, being on American time the whole time you're there?
It's not easy. I try that when I go over there. I try to adjust the London time as best as I can by timing my sleep pattern on the plane, and then falling asleep at a decent time on Thursday evening to prepare for Friday and get into the mode. Because the show started at first fight was at 5:00.
Right.
So it went late till midnight. Then by the time I get on the plane coming back here and I land here around 2:00, and it's basically 10:00.
Right.
For me.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm disjointed.
Right. Yeah. So what time did you wake up today? What time did you go to bed? What time did you wake up?
I made it a point to try to go to sleep around 10:30 last night.
Oh, so you stayed up that late. That's good.
Well, I had to. If I fell asleep earlier, I would have screwed myself up. Not that I'm a little screwed up right now, a little bit jet lag wise, but I'll be okay. I'll get a good workout in after the show.
And how important is that? Because I feel like exercise is the reset button for you.
Hey, I hit the cold plunge this morning. That helped.
Yeah.
right?
How's
gets
that?
you
How's
back.
that going? You talked about getting that.
I like it. Oh no, I highly recommend it. The cold plunge, I recommend it to everybody.
Nice.
It's
What's
good
the
for so many
temperature of
different
it?
things. I'm realizing benefits from it that I enjoy.
What's the temperature of it?
I have mine at 54 degrees.
I mean, that doesn't sound that cold, but it's cold. That's really cold.
It's cold. Trust me,
Yeah.
if you have not dove into a 54-degree
Oh,
tub of water,
yeah. No.
yeah, it's cold.
I'm curious. I hate to ask this question. This is the silliest
You're
question
gonna
I've
ask
ever
it
asked.
anyway, so go ahead.
I mean, what I assume getting the gear in the water is the hardest part, right? Like that's gotta,
Oh, the gear,
yeah, that's gotta be the hardest part.
the
Like
old
everything
manhood.
else.
I don't know. For me, it's just going in. Once you feel it hit your chest, I'm used to it now. I get in there and
Because you
breathe
gotta
and get
go
it
in.
done.
You can't just like half-ass it and be like, I'm gonna go in slowly. Like you gotta go in.
Well, at this point, that's what I do. I just go in. The gear is fine. The gear is fine. And what I do is I dip my head underneath the water immediately, so I'm
I mean,
completely submerged.
I've been in some cold water, Buff, where it all wants to come inside. You know what I mean? Like it all wants to just retreat. You
Are
know?
you talking about your gear?
Yeah.
Like a Seinfeld episode?
Right. I'm not even. I'm talking about the two
I know what you're
guys that live
talking
down
about.
there. You know what I mean?
I know what you're talking about.
Like,
I
because
don't really pay
I've
that
heard
much.
of people, getting in the water, in actually having such a reaction that they're. I mean, get the kids out the room right now. Their testicles actually go back up into their abdomen. It's so cold.
I guess it all depends on the individual, TJ, because I really don't have much of an issue with that.
Wow, good for you.
I think I've become Aquaman to the cold plunge.
Dang.
Yeah, so
All
all
right.
good.
Good for you.
No complaints. No complaints. I didn't even think about it till you mentioned it, quite honestly.
What about the mental aspects of it? Like, do you feel like it invigorates you mentally?
Yeah, it does. I think it prepares you to. I saw this video by Gary Brecka, the man that helps Dana with all his, the cleansing and all the stuff that he's been doing.
Right.
And his videos are very interesting. And he points out the fact that when it comes to making decisions throughout the day or stress, it helps with those stressful things. It's also been known to help if you have any kind of depressive issues or whatever, the releasing of serotonin,
Right.
the dopamine rather, in the
Dopamine.
brain. So it's a feel-good aspect too, aside from inflammation and all the other things that's good for your body. But I do recommend that anybody that does do the cold plunge, depending on your physicality, depending on your medical issues,
Yeah.
read up on it and make sure that it's okay. I mean, it's not for everybody.
Right.
In certain
So
respects.
in Minnesota, that's where I grew up. If people don't know, lived there for 30 years. The lakes are obviously frozen in the wintertime. And
Right.
there's not a big long amount of time from the time that the ice comes off the lake to where it starts to become 85 degrees in the summertime. So let's say like the last little bit of ice comes off in April, and some people are wanting to go swimming at the end of May, early June, right? Every year in Minnesota, there's a handful of people that will go, oh my God, it's 85 degrees. And they jump into the water off their dock and they don't realize how cold that lake water is. And they have a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. So,
well, that's what I mean.
And I'm serious. Like that water buff that we're talking about, it's probably in the 50s, right around there, like high 40s, low 50s, temperature wise. So, what you're doing though, choosing in your backyard, what you're getting yourself into. Other people, if they've never done it, they can really mess themselves up.
Well, I think that's one of the things they talk about. I mean, let's say you have heart issues or whatever, you're taking heart medicine or blood pressure medicine or whatever medicine you're taking. I mean, again, I highly recommend it. Okay. I really highly recommend it. I mean, it's been around for years. This is nothing new, but it's a trend now. And these portable tubs you can buy, like the one I have, are definitely worth getting if you have the room and you can afford it. Of course, it's a godsend rather than going out and buying packs of 70 pounds of ice and dumping it in your tub and going through all that.
Yeah.
That
I
trouble.
wonder what the average temperature is for someone, just the water out of the faucet, like the cold water out of the faucet.
I Google it. I have no idea.
Well, I think it probably is different for everybody.
I can't answer that question.
No, I'm not asking you to. I'm stating that I think it's different for everybody.
I think probably so. Yeah.
Because like in Minnesota, like we have to be worried about our heat in the house because the pipes will freeze, they'll bust. You know what I mean? So The best thing, I don't know if you ever had this growing up, Buff. I know you've moved around a lot, but ice cold well water. That is something that is near and dear to my heart. You
Ice
ever have it?
cold well water. Why is that near and dear to your heart?
Because well water just tastes different than city water. It's not treated. It's from
It's pure water, though, isn't it?
right. Yeah, 100%. But it's cold because it lives in the ground, like the deep ground. Like I had a well in Minnesota where I had to shut it. The city made me close it off because they were going to raise my taxes. But yeah, that water is frigid. It is so cold.
Sounds cool. I mean,
It
I
is.
just you're making me think about the old Western days when they're dumping the bucket in and picking it up out of the well.
I mean,
well
that's
hole.
essentially what it was. But instead, I had
Basically
a faucet
it,
in my
right?
house. That is what it is. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Hey, listen, rough times in Minnesota. You
Not
got to
rough
sometimes get
times. I thought it was a luxury, but I actually saw Monster sells deep well water now, like deep well drinking water. Actually had some of it at the UFC Expo.
Good for them. They put anything else in it?
No, just water, just deep well water.
And does it taste different?
Not really, but what are you gonna do? It's an interesting tactic. I enjoy it. I enjoy well water.
Wow.
People in the Midwest right now listening to this, Buff, they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. People in the East Coast and the West Coast are going, okay, boys, next. All good. So speaking of next, let's touch on the London show for a sec, or for a minute here, because it really was a good show.
Yeah.
Okay. And I got to give credit to Tom Aspinall. Is this like his 5th fight that he's won in under 2 minutes or something?
Yeah, and this one was a big one coming off that knee injury.
He severed his ACL, didn't he?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
to be back in 1 year.
Right.
Having...
And man, like knee injuries, I know we've come a long way. Like back in the day, you blow out your ACL, you're done. Like your career was over, they thought. And
yeah, I'm very familiar with that.
Now, not only, I mean, yeah, you've done it a couple times. Not only is your career not over, but you can have this rapid return and recovery. You know, I don't think we're to the point now where, like, you know, those pitchers that get Tommy John surgery, they're structurally more superior to then the healthy shoulder before they had the surgery. I don't think we're there yet with knees. No. Because once you have a knee problem, even if it's fully recovered, the odds of you having another knee issue are very great. But
yeah, that plus arthritis and everything else.
Right. We're definitely, though, getting to the point where, I mean, how long until a real bad ACL injury, Buff, just means 4 months on the shelf rather than a year? Because I feel like we're getting closer and closer.
Hey, listen, when I blew my ACL, and I wasn't fighting, of course.
Right.
I was back in the octagon in 4 weeks, but I was told it would have taken 3 months to do it right. But Dr. Elatrosh, who did Tom Brady's knee and George St. Pierre's knee and my knee, I mean, he guided me through it. And I was braced up and everything. But again, not fighting. So more credit to Tom Aspinall to go in there with a clear head, not worry about it, have self-conscious feelings about it. And immediately within seconds of the start of the fight, throws a round kick to the head with the leg he had the ACL replaced in. So I think it was doing well. That
stare down, though, Buff, from the weekend, I thought you were going to have to mix it up with those athletes. Paul Craig.
Oh, Paul Craig and Muniz.
Yeah. Paul Craig is a scary individual. My God.
You know what? He's a great guy.
Sure. But I don't want to look into that man's eyes when he's in your face.
It's fun. I'm always looking into the eyes of the tiger anyway, when I'm announcing, and I know what Paul's going to do. And it got a little extreme. And if that was, you know, I was wondering, like, granted, it was me in between them. And I actually had to squeeze aside a little bit because they really wanted to get close to the key point. Had that been the USA, I think that probably the commission and stuff would have probably stepped in a little stronger.
Nevada's not letting that happen.
Yeah, but it made for good TV.
Great TV, great moment.
Yeah, great moment. People enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too. I enjoyed the announcing of it. You know, it was intense.
Yeah.
And let's give Paul Craig credit going from light heavyweight down to middleweight. No easy task, a man his size. Number 9 ranked light heavyweight contender in the world, usually wins with submissions and goes to a brand new weight division, lower, trimmer, and wins on strikes.
You know, I hate to say it, but that's the argument for some of these athletes that want to cut more weight, is the ability to bring that light heavyweight power down to the middleweight division, even, you know, on the floor with strikes as well. Like there's a big benefit if you can make that weight cut. It's just can you do it healthily? And every athlete is different. I was talking to some of the boxing people I work with. You know the trainer Abel Sanchez. He's worked with Gennady Golovkin, many others. We're
Yeah.
talking about weight cutting, and like he was like flabbergasted when I said that MMA guys are cutting 8 to 10 to 15, in some rare cases 20 pounds of water the week of the fight. It just blows people's minds when they come from the boxing world to know what MMA guys are doing to get the last 10 pounds off sometimes. And yeah, it's if you can do it healthily, like obviously you want to try to weigh in as low as you can, because you just seem to be a more physically imposing athlete come fight night, but it's not for everybody.
Well, if I'm not incorrect in this, most MMA fighters have a wrestling background, or many of them a wrestling background. We're cutting weights, and it was a lot
Right.
different than what the boxers are used to. And I could see
Correct.
where it might blow away some of the boxers. But weight cuts they're dangerous.
Yeah.
And done incorrectly. And we lose fights all the time to weight cuts.
Yeah, and like you said, if you come from a wrestling base, especially if you wrestled collegiately and all through high school, like it's a science. It's nothing to sweat off 6, 7, 8 pounds for some of those guys. Others, it's definitely a bit difficult. But like I was blown away when Abel Sanchez told me that Triple G was only allowed to walk around 1 kilogram higher than his weigh-in weight the week of fight week.
Hey, that's the kind of discipline it takes, then do it.
But I mean, also too, think about Dan Henderson, who fought at 205 pounds throughout his career, and 185, and I think Dan walks at like 197. You know what I mean?
Easily. Well, I mean, look at the 155ers, what they walk around at.
Oh God, those guys walk around real big.
No, I saw Patty Pimblett was there.
Well, Patty walks around at 205.
Yeah, he wasn't that heavy though. He looked like he was actually in pretty good shape.
That's good. That's good. I'm joking. He's not 205, man. Patty Pimblett's got the appetite of a super heavyweight.
Yeah, that's definitely true. See him after his fights, man. He's downing that pizza like there's no tomorrow. I think we all would too.
Yeah.
On the card though, I want to give a little credit here. Nathaniel Wood and Andre Fili's fight. Very tough fight.
Yeah, I saw the result there. I love Fili, by the way. I've been calling Andre Fili's fights, or I called Andre Fili's fights back at Tachi Palace. Really tough kid out of Uriah Faber's camp. Always brings it. He's been on some tough sides of decisions over the last couple of years, but anytime Fili's on TV, like he's must-see TV. I enjoy watching him fight.
Enjoyable.
So.
Put on some good strength too. Put on some good muscle for that featherweight division. He looked
really
strong.
He's a supreme athlete.
Yeah, there's no question. And I think it was the third round, or there was one really memorable round in that. Maybe it was the third round, but they just went at it.
Yeah,
6.
Yeah.
Davey Grant and Daniel Marcos. There's some question mark on whether Davey won that fight or not, but Daniel Marcos stayed undefeated. Very strong fighter. Lots of credit to Davey Grant. That was an awesome fight. The English fight fans, had a good share of their local heroes fighting that night. And again, I just say it was a heck of a show. I love these kind of shows. And with all respect to all the fighters, where there's not like major star power names on the show, but you just have a night of endless action.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if the star power is overwhelming on paper, Bruce, because anybody can turn themselves into a huge star by putting in, a fight of the year type of performance. And that is possible on any mixed martial arts card, whether it's the UFC or the LFA, CFFC, any of the other promotions that are out there. If you want to watch fights, sit down and watch fights, because you never know what the athletes are going to turn in.
Well, if you want to watch fights, tune in this weekend, because this UFC 291 in Salt Lake City is a definite brawl for it all. You got the second bout with Poirier and Gaethje,
Yeah, what's on the line for that one again?
Pardon me?
What's on the line between them again? The baddest. I'm trying to get you to say.
Oh, the BMF?
Yeah.
Okay, what is that supposed to stand for?
Bad
mofo?
For.
It's the bad mofo belt.
Something like that.
Maybe that's what I should say, the bad mofo belt, the lightweight belt. So we'll see how that is. We'll see if The Rock steps in to hand it out again.
There was talk about Masvidal doing it, and I actually hope that that's the case. I would love.
Why would he hand it out? Does that mean he gets to fight one of these guys? I mean,
no, Masvidal's retired. He's a former BMF champ, and
it add a little flavor to the night.
I think that if they do the BMF title, and it's not being like defended per se. The last man to hold that belt should be the one that wraps it around the next athlete's waist.
Sounds good. I wanted to think back. I was thinking about Salt Lake City there. I'm going to segue for a second. Yes, Usman fought in Salt Lake City about a year or so ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the time I was there before that was the last time I was in Salt Lake City was during the flu game with Michael Jordan.
What year was that? 97?
I'd have to
Something like
look it up, TJ. I'm not sure.
I think it's 97.
I think 97. But that night, you talk about doing something in Salt Lake City. Obviously, I get there late at night. My godson Henry's coming into town, so he and his best friend are going to go to the show and enjoy the show, and then they're driving on to Montana. So I'm looking forward to seeing them there. But the last time I was there, you talk about things to do in Salt Lake City. That night of the Michael Jordan game, I went out to dinner with Charles Barkley and Dr. J. And Michael.
Really?
Yeah, that was fun.
That's unbelievable. That's awesome.
That's when Charles and I first met each other and became friends after that. But to be there with Dr. J, one of the greatest NBA players, along with Charles Barkley, one of the
For
greatest.
sure. That's
ever.
great.
It was a fun night. A lot of laughs back and forth, just cracking up. I'm just thinking about the memories. You know, the job and the adventures that we have, that people have in this game. I think we forget more than you remember. And it's
100%.
like that it just came back and it just dawned on me. What a night that was. That was so cool.
Yeah, someone asked me how many fight cards I had called the other day. And like 5 years ago, I tried to count them up to see if I had reached 100 yet. And I had. So I have no idea where I'm at after 100. You know what I mean?
Don't even ask me, TJ. Don't even ask me who fought 4 weeks ago.
Like, honestly, when people ask the question, you know this better than anybody. It's just better to say the year in your first event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
there's different ways to answer. It depends. But
it's just like, you don't want to sit there and actually, like, don't get me wrong. You want to give them an honest answer, but like, what are you going to do? You're going to start, counting on your hands and fingers. You know what I mean? Like,
you do what you got to do.
I've done a lot. The first one I did was then. It's now.
All right, here, let me let me go into this card a little. I've got to go over this card for a second. This card's off the hook.
Yeah,
the first fight of the night's Miranda Maverick and Priscilla Cochiera.
Yeah, and I think Miranda's a phenomenal fighter. The fact that this is an early prelim, like the first prelim, like Miranda's good enough to be, on the featured main prelim by herself. I think she's phenomenal.
She has been.
Yeah.
You got CJ Vergara and Benicio Salvador. Then you go into the ESPN show that starts on ABC. The first fight's Jake Matthews and Darius Flowers. Right?
Yeah.
Derek Lewis, Marcos Rogerio de Lima.
Right. I mean, that could be a 1-round absolute slugfest by both guys.
That's a prelim fight with a co-main event card.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Then you go into the main card. First fight's Michael Chiesa and Kevin Holland.
Yep.
Tony Ferguson and Bobby Green.
Yep.
Stephen Thompson and Michael Pereira.
Right.
Juan Błachowicz and Alex Pereira.
Yeah. I mean, honestly.
Wow.
There's one BMF belt and a lot of BMFs on this fight card.
Yeah. There's basically a lot of BMF fights.
Yeah.
going on here.
Absolutely.
No, I encourage everybody to tune into the show for sure. This is going to be one heck of a show.
Yeah, I can't
for this one.
I can't tell you how excited I am for it. I'm going to be unfortunately tasked with working during it down in Mexico. I've got a couple of fight cards coming up this weekend. But I'm going to, be on top of it. I'll be looking at my phone repeatedly.
Good. Well, get your work done. You can be in two places at once. All right, let's go into some news. UFC, keep it coming, man. Just keep it rolling. It's amazing. Elon Musk is changing Twitter. Welcome to X, y'all.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why. Why is he changing the name?
I don't know. I like Twitter. Apparently the world hates Twitter.
Well, also Twitter, I heard, and again, I'm a no expert when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok are way overtaking Twitter by a certain extent. Maybe they're just doing an overhaul to bring it back up again. I
don't know. Elon Musk has pissed everybody off since he's taken over Twitter. I don't follow as to why necessarily. I did rent a Tesla over the weekend. Big fan of a Tesla. I need to get one of those.
To Tesla?
Huh?
You rode or wrote?
I rented one. My car's all messed up. Yeah, so I had to drive up to Santa Barbara So I rented a Tesla rather than trying to figure out how to fix my car before I left.
Nice
And
drive. Did you take the Pacific Coast Highway route?
yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful drive.
Absolutely beautiful. Some of the most scenic driving experience of my life going up there. But yeah, I think I
When
need to buy a
you
Tesla.
do you remember Zuma Beach? Driving by Zuma Beach?
I drove by a lot of beaches. I
Okay.
don't, you know.
You drove by where I grew up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At the
Okay.
end of Zuma Beach in Malibu. That's where I grew
Okay.
up.
Yeah, no, Buff, dude. I wish I would have brought my wife up there because it was a romantic
Yeah, no,
drive.
that's an
Yeah.
awesome drive to be with your girlfriend or your wife.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
Especially when I
Snoop
can just
Dogg is
sit there in
doing
a
everything.
Tesla. Sorry, especially when I sit there in a Tesla, I don't have to pay attention to the road. I just look around.
Did you have to charge it on the road?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But there are charging stations everywhere, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't take that long. You go to a supercharger. I think it was like $15, and I was out of there in 40 minutes. That's the only time I had to charge it.
That's not bad. And what do you get, about 350 miles or something?
Something like that. And like honestly, when you charge it, you can watch Netflix like in the car.
Okay, well, I'm sure people do very different things. Netflix is your choice. That's
No,
cool.
but I mean it's built into the car.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you sit in the car. Okay,
you sit in the car and you just press a button. And it's like Netflix comes up on the TV. Pretty
Modern
great.
day ages, man.
Yeah.
Modern day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, Snoop Dogg's doing everything these days. You see him everywhere. Get ready for his ice cream.
Uh-oh. How high am I going to get?
I don't know if it's made with I don't think it has
Okay.
what you think it has in it.
Okay, good.
But he's taking a little keynote from Martha Stewart here. And
They have a weird relationship, right? Like Snoop and Martha, like weren't they on a show together for a minute?
I've seen them on the roast shows together. Supposedly they did something together. Yeah, they did something. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
But he's calling it Dr. Bombay ice cream.
Okay.
Dr. Bombay is like a Howard Head type looking monkey on the cover here.
All right.
He's got syrupy waffle sundaes, waffle ice cream with waffle pieces, and a brown butter syrup swirl.
That's interesting. Let me tell you,
That doesn't sound that bad.
Ice cream on an actual waffle is amazing.
Of course. Now his other one is rolling in the dough, which he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Cookie ice cream with chunks of cookie dough, chocolate flakes, and chocolate chip cookie swirls.
So I'm not a big fan of cookie dough.
I'm not either, but still pretty interesting flavors. You know what's unique about them is they are unique in visual and flavor, which will make them stand out on the shelf.
Right.
And more good luck to Snoop. This guy's like the Rock, man. He's just coming out with everything.
I think he's kind of like Bruce Buffer when it comes to marketing. Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that very much. But I'll compare the paychecks to Snoop.
There you go.
All right, let's talk a little Shark Talk. The U.S. now outranks Australia and South Africa for recent shark attacks.
And where are they primarily? Because I heard
most of them take place in Florida, TJ.
Yeah, because I was going to say I heard most of like the white shark attacks happen off the coast of the Atlantic, and then you have all the bull sharks. You have all the bull sharks down in the Gulf.
Right.
Because the bull shark's the one that goes up the river, right?
Bull sharks can go to
water.
they go from salt water to fresh water. They're very, very dangerous sharks.
It's super aggressive, yeah.
City in Brazil called Recife that has signs posted up, do not enter the water. People under the water, they get 10 feet into the water, boom, they get slammed. I mean, now, if you see a sign that says don't go in the water because of sharks,
right.
Don't go in the water, okay?
Those bull sharks, they're still in line with like all the typical sharks. They don't necessarily want to eat you, but they don't know what you are, and they got to go have a taste.
I know the great white is not a big lover of, even though they attack, they're supposedly not a lover of, human flesh, shall we say.
Right.
I don't know, but the bull sharks are just a weird breed. And
I just think
like
they're
the most
aggressive.
vicious.
They just eat everything that's around them. Like, get out of here. F you. That's their
they're very,
mindset.
very, very aggressive. But basically in the U.S., New York has increased patrols. They've had 5 bites in 2 days, right? Wow. They've had a sliver of 50 sharks being filmed off Long Island. You see them on YouTube. You see, there was one scene where a shark the shark was just swimming close to shore, literally like 20 feet offshore, in between people, going through people. It looked like a movie.
That's crazy.
It's really crazy. Florida has had 259 bites
this year.
Yep. Australia 143.
What?
This is in 2022.
That's insane to me. I thought it was like 1 in 100,000 like chance of getting bit by sharks. That sounds.
Give me a second to make sure I'm correct on this.
That's unbelievable.
Okay, excuse me. Take a look at the locations worldwide with the highest rate of shark attacks between 2012 and 2021.
Okay.
Florida, 259 bites. Australia, 143.
That's a lot different.
Lot different. Hawaii, 76.
Your original stat there, Buff. I was like, they're
away from the original.
organizing. They're coming to eat us on land.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go in the water at that point. South Africa, 29 bites. I get some very dangerous sharks in South Africa. Great whites. They have the Zambezi shark down there, which is like the fastest shark known to man.
Really?
South Carolina, 45 sharks. California, 29 bites. That's pretty light. North Carolina, 31. And Brazil says only 10. That's interesting.
Well, you know what the sad part is, Buff? You only hear about the shark bites where people are recovered and everything's okay.
You know what? They're out there. We're here. But don't people enjoy the water? Just enjoy the water.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely wasn't ever going to go in the ocean again after you first said all those things happened in the last year, but I'll go back in the ocean now.
There was one video that I saw where this huge great white, probably about 15 to 20 feet, the guy's in a plexiglass cage, and it came up and literally went right through the plexiglass cage, mouth open to bite him, and missed him. It's like, here's his body, here's the shark.
Oh my
God.
God.
He made it back to the boat. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. And what are you supposed to do? Punch him in the nose?
Yes.
All right.
Punch him in the nose, in the eye, whatever. Go ahead. Good luck with that. No problem. But they have come out that sharks are millions of years older than dinosaurs. I mean, they are the most prehistoric thing on Earth. Millions of years older than dinosaurs. I thought
an alligator was.
Get this, TJ. Sharks have the longest lifespan compared to other animals. They can live for hundreds of years, TJ.
What?
Yep.
Hundreds?
Hundreds of years.
Dang.
The Greenland shark is the longest living known vertebrate on Earth. Right?
Yeah.
And the North Atlantic species lives an average of at least, this is wild, 272 years, and often don't reach maturity till 150 years of age. Greenland sharks can live for, according to scientists, 400 years. That's longer than a tree, TJ.
Yeah, that seems unbelievable.
And get this, a shark pregnancy, on the average, they give birth every 11, 12 months, right? But they can have pregnancies that last as long as 3 years.
Dang. That's unbelievable. Wow.
Yep. You know, so some sharks actually lay eggs.
Well, I think they all lay eggs.
No. Some sharks, like mako sharks and bull sharks, give live birth, while other sharks,
I
like
thought
cat
mammals
sharks, they
gave
lay
live
eggs.
birth.
Say again?
I thought mammals were the only species that gave live birth.
I'm reading what the article says. It's a scientific article.
All right.
You know? Anyway, I don't know if our listeners are that crazy about this, but I find this stuff fascinating.
Well, I mean, you're out there on a surfboard from time to time, so that's why you're all interested in sharks. I just find sharks terrifying, so that's why I find it interesting.
They can be terrifying. I was out in the water as a kid, and a shark was coming into the shore at Westward Beach, and the way you measure a shark is the dorsal and the tail fin. See, dolphins are like this on the tail fin, so they don't have a double fin break to the water. So if you see that, that's usually a dolphin.
Right.
See this, you're talking shark. Okay?
Right.
So you double that measurement between the dorsal and the tail, and that's how long the shark is, supposedly. Right. This shark came in and easily was about a 7 foot or so distance, which made it for like a, 13, 15 foot shark. I'll tell you, you never saw so many people get out of the water so fast, right?
Yeah.
It turned out to be a basking shark, which looks like a great white, but it swims with its mouth open. And it feeds off phytoplankton. It doesn't bite you.
Okay. So it's just eating like the microbial things.
Yeah. But that was enough to rock my world.
Yeah, of course.
So not just mine, but everybody else in the water.
I went out whale watching a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, out at Dana Point, and we saw a sunfish, and I've never seen a sunfish before. You ever see a sunfish?
Where they lay on top of the water?
Yeah, but like it was a few feet below the water, and it's got a very white sort of color to it. Everyone was thinking it was a white shark because it looked like that underneath the water, and then it comes up and it's like Just a
It's probably going to
sunfish.
be your initial thought when you see a shark like that. It's going to be the initial feeling that you have. So
Yeah, but it was super cool. Again, as a kid from the Midwest, like the ocean is endlessly fascinating to me.
well, let's just put everybody to rest. Okay. The chance of being attacked by a shark is you have a better chance of being attacked by bees, I think. Some crazy thing. It's very far-fetched. So go enjoy
Oh
the ocean,
man,
everybody. Just keep your eyes open and just be aware. That's all.
I hate to play a grim would you rather, but I think I'd rather be bit by the shark than attacked by bees.
I'm not even going to go there because neither one seems very appetizing.
Yeah, but like the shark, even while it could be maybe more traumatic, you're kind of in control of like this is what's happening. You know, with bees, it's just every direction nonstop. You don't know what's going to happen.
All right,
I want to be
TJ.
able to at least punch a shark in the face. I can't punch bees in the face.
You go, girl. You do what you got to do.
All right.
Kidding aside. Hope you never have the experience, TJ.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really go in the water.
No. So speaking of whatever we're speaking of, another segue here, but Barbie, big movie.
Yeah.
$155 million opening. Big
Crazy.
hit.
Crazy.
You know, Chris is a big lover of Barbie. She collects Barbie. She's running out tonight with her husband to see the movie. I'll get a
Barbie bigger than
critique on
the latest Indiana Jones movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, strangely enough, the Indiana Jones movie kind of limped out of the gate.
I know.
Only had a $60 million opening. You know, that's not good.
No.
Barbie, 155 million, just cracking it. Even the Flash was very low on the returns.
To
But
be fair,
nice to see
too,
that
though,
Barbie's
Buff,
dominating the box office, doing what it's doing.
I didn't even know that there was a new Indiana Jones film until it was out. So I kind of feel like Disney may have dropped the ball when it comes to doing the promotion of that film.
Maybe I haven't seen it yet, but I'll definitely, when it comes to cable, watch it. I mean, I enjoy all the Indiana Jones films.
Never seen one.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Are
It's a
you
problem.
kidding?
No.
Well, do yourself a favor. If you ever do, just see the first one, watch them chronologically.
Okay.
They still hold up. It's Steven Spielberg at his best.
Yeah, yeah. Like we've talked about this in the past. Didn't have cable growing up. Very rarely went to movies.
Yeah, you were not a moviegoer.
By the time, well, I mean, I wanted to. It was expensive. Didn't have the opportunity to really have cable until I was an adult, and then no one really wanted to sit down and watch those movies with me. So I just haven't.
I think with you and your son, you would enjoy it. I think it's a great thing for you and your son to share.
Yeah, but kids today, Buff, they got the attention span of a goldfish, and my kid just wants to play with his iPad. And
Well,
I
maybe
can't,
one
I
of the way
can't
to help
sit
him with
with
that is to-
anybody. I can't sit with anybody and watch a movie when they're not paying attention to the movie.
I've been there, and I agree with you.
I don't like that. So
I agree with you. All right, let me give a little health stuff here. Our sponsor of the show, medicaleverything.com. Everybody check out medicaleverything.com. Great ways to, learn how to take care of yourself and be more in tune with yourself medically, health-wise, everything else. But there's an article on fitness that I wanted to see. That these 8 habits could add up to 24 years of your life.
like
Okay, I'm
extra,
gonna
24
Pardon me?
extra years of your life.
extra
Wow.
24 years to your life.
All right, let's
In
hear
other
it.
words, if you don't follow them, you're probably going to reduce it by 24. It just says, want to live an additional 24 years? Just add 8 healthy lifestyles to your life at age 40. Okay.
Oh, well, I'm turning 40 this year.
Yeah.
So let's
So
go.
it said, by the way, if you start at age 50, no problem. You could prolong your life by 21 years. If you start this at age 60, you could prolong it by 18 years. So you guys figure out what's good for you. I'm going to go
All
through
right.
these real quick before we sign off for the show.
I'll
Okay.
tell you if I'm going to do it or not.
Okay. Well, first on the list is exercise.
Maybe.
Hello. Come on.
Maybe I'll do it more exercise.
Are you not exercising at all?
So I used to run a lot.
I don't want to hear
And,
about what you used to do. I want to hear about what you do.
No. Let me explain. I've struggled finding a new exercise because I developed a heel spur really bad.
Yeah, those aren't fun.
No, so I need to get cracking on the elliptical. But
Okay.
but yeah,
Let's
don't
do it. Okay, the answer to
don't
that.
shame me, Buff.
Number 2, not become addicted to opioids, painkillers, all that. That
Why
stands to reason.
that's
Number 3, never
hang
using.
on. We live in a time now where we have to convince people that not becoming addicted to drugs is a lifestyle choice.
They're just telling you what it is.
That's scary. All right.
Yep.
Sorry.
We're talking, listen, with the medical community out there shoving prescriptions down your throat every left and right,
I got
like
you.
painkillers. Stay away if you can. Never using tobacco.
Yep.
Okay.
Check.
Reduces the risk of death by 29%.
Never smoked in my life.
Number 4, managing stress. okay, which is
Wow.
rampant in today's society. We all
For
suffer
sure.
from it. I go through it too.
I know. Everybody
That'll
does.
reduce early death by 22%. Eating a plant-based diet. Okay.
So that's vegan.
It doesn't mean you have to be a vegetarian or vegan. Just
Oh,
following a
okay.
healthy plant-based diet. The Mediterranean diet is full of like whole grains and leafy vegetables is a key. The
Right.
closer to, it's been shown, the closer you eating a food that comes out of the ground,
Mm-hmm.
the healthier you are.
Sure.
The farther away you get from that, from packaged foods, processed
Right.
foods,
Yeah.
all that, not good. Not good at all.
I'm gonna
Number
go have a
6.
salad today now, Buff.
Okay, do it. Avoid binge drinking. I
Yep.
don't think I need to explain anything about that.
No, I don't do that.
7, getting a good night's sleep, which is defined at least 7 to 8 hours.
See, for whatever reason, Bruce, the more I sleep, the harder it is for me to wake up. I'm better between 4 and 6 hours of sleep than I am 7 to 10. If I get over 7 hours of sleep, I might as well sleep for 12 because I can't wake up. Like cognitively, I'm not functioning right.
I need my 7 to 10 hours of sleep. You know, the night before a show, I definitely do everything I can to get 10 hours sleep, barring my travel,
Wow.
to be fresh. You know, just relax, get it all together.
I'd rather have
That a lot of that
4.
has to do with the fact that I'm changing time zones too.
Mm.
Now, number 8, it sounds very positive. And that's exactly what it is. Being surrounded by positive social relationships,
Right.
right? Loneliness and isolation, especially amongst older adults, which is becoming more widespread and worrisome, that's causing a lot of issues. So a recent study found that people experience social isolation had a 32% higher risk of dying, right? People who reported feeling lonely were 14% more likely to die than those who did not. So positive social relationships, that stands to reason.
Yeah. And we surround yourself with positive energy, right? You know?
Yeah, and a positive energy, and hopefully being in a good marriage if that's the case.
Yeah.
Like yourself, TJ, the wonderful marriage that you have.
Right.
All right. That's not exactly groundbreaking news. I think those are all pretty obvious, but it's a standard thing to follow. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Let's see if I missed anything else here. 21-year-old breaks Michael Phelps' final record. We know those will be broken at some time or not. I guess that's about it, TJ. Anything else for us?
Not really. Just coming up this weekend, I'll be down in Mexico in Playa del Carmen. Master Victor Davila is bringing back his MMA show that he hasn't run since like 2007. It's called MMA Mexico. I believe that's streaming on YouTube. And then the next night, Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, Eddie Bravo's innovation when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It is a traditional EBI tournament, 16 athletes, one night. The winner will fight 4 times, trying to submit and strike their way with open hand palm strikes. So it's always a fun time. So check that out. That is live Sunday on UFC Fight Pass.
Very cool. You got a busy weekend ahead of you. I do too. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the London show. If you got a chance to watch it, I highly recommend you watch UFC 291 from Salt Lake City coming up this Saturday. Also want to thank everybody for the large amount of cameo videos and other videos coming in. TJ, I've been doing in the area of 5 to 10 weddings a week.
Wow.
A lot of people getting married. Yeah.
Wow.
Baby births and championship intros. It's just
That's great.
happy to make everybody happy. Thank you for all your orders. We really appreciate it. And I will say too, again, I got to say it. It's Time Cologne, #1 wish list on UK Amazon.
That's great.
I got a picture to prove it. I was over there. It's crazy.
There you go.
And still the top seller on in USA on Amazon.
That's awesome, Buff. You're killing it.
Yeah. Nothing like smelling like a champion.
There you go.
To all the champions out there, have a great week. Be positive. Bring positive energy to your sphere of influence around you. Be a role model to your sphere of influence around you. Be the best you can be. Have a very, very excellent week ahead. I wish you all the best. And when you step on that yellow brick road to success, please get on there. Be knowledgeable about what you're going to do. Set your goals. Write them down. Go for them. They will come true. And then you'll be winning. So I'm sending best wishes, positive energy, and all I can possibly say to make everybody feel happy. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. TJ, have a great week. We'll be back next week with another special guest other than TJ DeSantis.